Hey, what's up, guys? Just a little update here on the little RC boat project. Uh, as you can see, nothing really visually changed. It still got my purple and yellow paint scheme, which I think looks pretty cool. I made some turn fins back here, as you can see, made out of stainless steel, as well as my little trim tabs, which are made out of stainless as well. I cut them and shaped them, sharpened them a little bit towards the front, so hopefully they work well. Mainly, I did that so the boat would stay a little more stable in the water. Like I said before, I was having a problem steering. Much like a lot of the offshore race boats, it has a tendency to want to turn to the right and the right only, and when I'm making left turns, it's kind of having a problem and wanting to push that front end down, which I've been doing research, and apparently it's you know, a known thing to happen with a lot of these boats, which is why they have the offset rudder to kind of help counteract some of that. Sometimes they also have the prop shaft offset as well, and it's usually pushed over to the right of the rear of the boat. But as you can see here, everything looks good and running well. In the very beginning, before I swapped that VXL system in, I was running this. This is it's a 70 amp HSP. I believe it's Novatech. I think it's a Chinese brand. I'm not quite sure. When I first had it in the boat, it seemed to have a lot of power and worked well. But then one day I was testing around and saw some smoke coming out. I cracked it open, and on one of these wires here inside, can't see it obviously, had some burn marks. So that obviously caused the problem, and it stopped working entirely, and I only have steering function with that. So it's kind of useless now, and I can't really use it. But that's okay, because the other ESC, the VXL, seems to be working pretty well. And like I said, adding those turn fins, hopefully it'll help with stability and control, especially keeping the back end of that boat in the water. Obviously they're not adjustable. The only reason why I use stainless is because, for one, it doesn't rust, and for two, I couldn't find any aluminum pieces hanging around, so that was about the best I can get. Oh. So here, when you open it up, see, I got my battery mounted a little better now. It's Velcro, so it's nice and stable in there. The motor seems to be working well. The coupler hasn't come apart yet, so that's a plus, especially with the speeds this thing is turning. Down there is a little shaft box that holds everything together. You see there's a lot of grease down there. One main problem that I'm definitely finding is I do have a lot of shaft play. As you can see, I can pull that out and push it in quite a bit. That's kind of a problem. It doesn't seem to really be affecting the boat while it's in the water. But like I said, there is some play there, and I would imagine that would cause some resistance, as this is moving constantly. I've tried to eliminate that by adding something here for a spacer, like a washer, but it seems like there's still quite a bit of play. So I'll try to fix that, and but it's an ongoing project, so there's always all types of little bugs and stuff to work out. And as you can see, my little springs are starting to rust, but not a big deal. Seems to be working good. If you remember from my last video, I'm running that Team Losi, the 27 megahertz system. It's all sealed and digital, which is nice. The only problem I have been having actually is if water does get on the top of this, even though it's supposed to be sealed, it's getting on these wire connections here for the servo and for the ESC, and it's kind of bugging out. So I've been trying to waterproof this as best as possible to keep it from, getting wet. The ESC hasn't really had any problems with getting wet, or the servo, so that's a plus. Also, I have these drains on the back of the boat, just to dump out water just in case. And there's the radio, obviously. When I was running the Traxxas receiver, obviously I was using the remote here that had the crystals. And these things they're good remotes. The TQ, it's good for basic and entry level stuff. There's not too many settings on there. Obviously you have your throttle trim and your steering trim, and then you can go from a neutral 50-50 precision where you have 50% reverse, 50% full throttle, or you can go 70-30, which is basically 70% throttle and the other 30% is a reverse throttle. So yeah, that's pretty much all the things that you have on there. With the Team Losi remote, you do have an advantage of this max set for your steering direction, and that's actually pretty cool, because even though you may have this turn a full turn, you could have this set to wherever you want it. So you can have your rudder to where it only turns a quarter of that or an eighth of that or whatever you want it to. So you're not having a full lockout, which is nice. Because I'm actually finding that at high speeds this thing doesn't want to turn very well. So adjusting that really does seem to help. But I can give you a demonstration of that really quick. Go ahead and turn the boat this way. My little system there. Okay. So I'll always turn the remote on first. Don't want to have wacky electronics. Alright. So as there you can see the rudder. I'm going to put it on minimum turning radius. So that's minimum there. As you can see, little dot there is all the way to the left. Okay. Now that's a full lock to the right. And as you can see, the rudder barely turns. Alright, we'll go a little bit up from there, about that much. Let's see. Now it's another full lock to the right, to the left. It's a little bit more steering. We'll go right to the middle there. Alright. Even more steering. We'll go about 3/4 of the way. Okay. Even more steering. Now if you have this full all the way up, this thing has quite a bit of steering angle actually. As you can see down there, I'm still running the Traxxas servo, which seems to be working really good. Haven't had any problems with it in the water. It steers just fine. But like I said, that's just kind of a helpful thing here. I usually have it about 3/4 of the way because I do like a lot of steering trim, but it kind of hurts it when it's going fast in the water and you're trying to steer hard, rather than having to monitor how much you turn this, just a little bit or whatever. You can just go full turn and you don't have to worry about it, cranking all the way and, possibly flipping the boat or something when you're moving quicker. Obviously with this battery setup, it's maybe doing 20, if that. It is capable, I'm assuming, of doing more than that, upwards 30 miles an hour plus with LiPo. I'm still kind of afraid to use LiPo on this system, mainly because it's not water cooled, and I still need to get a water cooled jacket for that motor. Once I get that, I think it should be alright. Here, like I say, I already have my cooling line set up, so that's ready to go. It's not very not very usable at the moment. That's why I have it plugged. But here pretty soon, I should be able to do something with that. Yeah, the boat, it's kind of heavy, especially when you put the top on it. Especially for, you know, being how narrow the boat is, it's a little bit too heavy. But other than that, I can't really complain. It cuts through the water really good. Now, the only other problem is the fact that that prop sits so far in. I don't really like that. Eventually, I'm thinking about getting a whole new prop shaft and having everything extended out the rear of the boat. Maybe that'll help a little bit with stability, and I can kind of shave some of this stuff off here and maybe put some epoxy or something down there to reshape the bottom of the boat. But yeah, as you can see, that in there. And you can kind of hear it every time it moves backwards. So that's the main problem I'm having. But once I fix that, I will definitely update video, and I'll have another video of it here soon in the water. Might have to go do some testing later on and see how my little turn fins work. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks.